Good morning, scientists, and welcome to Science Corner. I am your host, Mrs. Durant, and I hope that you're all been doing well and you're well rested and you're ready for today's science lesson. Before we get into things, we're going to check our looking eyes first. So check your looking eyes. Are they ready? Are you ready to focus and look at the screen? Great. Now check your listening ears. Wonderful. And so now today in Science Corner, we're first going to do a review. So I'm going to have my handy assistant pull up my slide for me. We're going to be doing a review of all of the things that we have done so far. In Science Corner, we were exploring the animal world. And the first thing that we looked at was animal body coverings. Do you remember the animal body coverings? Right, so we looked at feathers, scale, fur, and shells, and we love them all the same. Great. Next slide. You're going to see an animal there. And what animal is this? It is a cow. Great job. What song does the cow make? Wow, you're so smart. Right, but what animal body covering is the cow covered in? Is it fur? Is it feather? Is it scale? It's covered in fur. Excellent job. Now let's look at the next slide. We also looked at domestic and wild animals. We placed the animals into groups of domestic and wild. And we said that domestic animals are animals that we have living with us, they live around us, we take care of them, we feed them, while wild animals, they are not tame. Domestic animals are tame, wild animals are not tame, and they live out in the wild. They don't need people to take care of them, they do their own thing, okay? So now let's look at the next slide. And here again we have the cow. Would you say the cow is a domestic or a wild animal? It is a domestic animal because the cow lives with us. We normally see cows on farms and we take care of them and we rear them. Okay, now let's look at the next animal. Is this other animal domestic or wild? Do you know what animal this is? It sometimes scurries across the road. It just looks like a brown blur running across the road. It is a mongoose. So would you say that the mongoose is domestic or wild? Right, the mongoose is wild. Why would you say that? Okay, so it lives out in the wild, it doesn't need us to take care of it, and it goes and finds its own food. Great job. Now for today's lesson in Science Corner, we are going to be looking at uses of domestic animals. Uses of domestic animals. So you see, we're going to be exploring a farm today. So what animals do you think we're going to talk about? Great job. Let's see if your guesses are correct. By the end of today's lesson, you should be able to, first objective, name some domestic animals in your environment. So you're going to look around you, look at the world around you, and all the animals you see, and you're going to be able to name some domestic animals in your environment. Second, you're going to discuss the uses of domestic animals. So we're going to talk. Discuss means to talk. We're going to talk about the uses of domestic animals. And finally, we're going to appreciate the domestic animals that live in our environment by stating the uses. Okay? So are you ready? Are you ready to do that? Are you ready to learn? Let's get right into it. So we have all of these animals around us. And I wonder to myself, why are we keeping all of these animals? We have learned so much about them. We learned about their body coverings. We learned if they are domestic or wild. But why do we keep domestic animals around us? Why do we need them? Why are they so important to us? Today we're going to be exploring that. So this animal, the cow. Why do people have cows? Why do we keep them? Okay, let's go to the next slide now and see there. So here we have, what does it look like to you? Meat, okay? It is cow meat, and we call cow meat beef. So we rear cows for their meat. Have you ever eaten beef before? What do you like your beef? Do you like your beef stew up or you want your beef in soup? All right, then beef is delicious any way you have it, right? So the first use of the cow, we rear cows for their meat, which we call beef. Let's look at the next slide. And here, what do you think this is? What does it look like to you? It looks kind of funny here. Look at all these different colors. Some people say it looks yucky. Can you smell it? You think you can smell it? Okay, so now this is actually the cow's skin. So after you've killed the cow and you've butchered the cow, they take off the skin. The skin is now called its hide. It's called a cow's hide. And then they would use this hide and they would sun it and do other things to it. And it's going to turn into, let's look at the next slide. It's going to turn into this thing. It's going to turn into leather. Do you see that transformation there? So the cow skin, which is called its hide, when you take it off, it turns into leather. Have you seen anything that was made from leather? Well, some of you might be familiar with this thing. What is this? This is a belt. And what do we use the belt for? To put around your waist, right? So this is a belt, and this belt is made of leather. So can you think of any other thing that is made of leather? Anything that you see? So have you seen leather shoes before? Have you seen a leather bag before? Okay, purses and belts. Right, these things can be made from leather. And where does the leather come from? It comes from the cow. Leather comes from the cow. Leather comes from the cow. Leather comes from the cow. That's one of its uses. Now let's look at the next thing we get from the cow. What is the man doing here? What is he doing? He is getting milk. And what do we get from the cow? We know we get milk from the cow. And you can drink the milk like that. And also you can turn the milk into something else. Do you know what we can turn the milk into? Let's look at the next slide and see what we can turn the milk into. Cheese. Do you like cheese? Okay, well, I understand that some people may be allergic to milk and some people may be allergic to cheese, so not everyone can have it, but still you need to learn about it. So we know from the milk from the cow we can get cheese. Great, and there are different types of cheese. And there is something else we can get from the milk, something that is cold and delicious and creamy, and you love to eat it and you scream for... What's the next thing? You scream for ice cream. So here I have with me some ice cream. And normally when you hear the ice cream van coming and it's making its sound, what flavor do you run outside to buy? What's your favorite flavor of ice cream? Okay, and the ice cream comes from milk, right? It comes from the milk of the cow. So that is another reason why cows are so important. We rear cows because they give us meat, we call it beef. They give us milk, and from that milk we can make cheese and we can make delicious ice cream. So let's move on now and see the next animal. What do you think is this we're going to look at? So here I have Mr. Goat, and Mr. Goat lives on my farm with his friend the cow. And Mr. Goat, why is it I keep you on my farm? Why do we have him around? What is its use? Do you know? Okay, let's look at the next slide now. What is the use? So of course the first use that I have here is the meat, and we call goat meat mutton. We call it mutton. Do you like to eat goat meat? I personally like to eat tripe in callaloo soup. It's my favorite. So goat meat is quite delicious. Now what about the next thing? What about the next use of goats? So have you ever seen anyone milking goats before? Yes, so just like the cow, we also can get milk from goats. Some people still do drink it today. And do you think we can turn this goat milk into something else? What do you think we can turn the milk into? Let's see. We can turn the milk into cheese. This is goat cheese. So you can take goat milk and turn it into cheese as well. Have you ever had goat cheese before? Okay, some of you may not be familiar with that, but you can go and check in supermarkets and see if you find some goat cheese. Maybe mommy will buy it for you, who knows? Now let's look at the next one. Now, we can also turn goat milk into soap. Isn't that surprising? So there is goat milk soap. So that is the use of the goat. So from the goat we get mutton. From the goats we get cheese. We get the milk, which we turn into cheese, and we can also use the milk and make soap. Some of the local soap brands here actually make goat milk soap. Now let's look at the next thing we can use the goat for. So this one, we're using the body covering of the goat. So this would be its hide, and we're going to make a rug. So you can actually make a goat rug. Some people have it on the house on the floor. Now I'm going to tell you something. In the olden days, before people used to have the fancy mattresses and stuff like that, they actually used to lay the goat skin rug down underneath whatever it is that they were using to sleep on to catch the pee of the baby. So when you have a baby and then the baby's pee the skin and stuff like that, they will lay the goat rug underneath to catch the urine. So that way you don't mess up your bed. Okay, so there's a little fact for you, little Vincentian history. Now let's look at the next thing. So here is a drum. What part of the drum do you think is made? Let me move this drum right onto the seat. See how big this drum is? It's quite huge. It's quite huge. What do you think? What parts of the goat do you think is used to make this drum? Can you make a guess? Do you think this part right here is made from parts of the goat? What does it look like to you? It's actually wood. So now this part, let's see if I can hold it. This part right here, the top of the drum, the part that makes the beat, this is actually goat skin. So this is a goat skin drum. Isn't that cool? Have you ever seen one of these drums before? Did you know it was made from goat skin? Maybe some of you are very good drummers. So yes, this drum is quite huge, and they use the covering and they make it from goat skin. So that is another use. Let me slide it out of the frame. That is another use of goats. So let's review. So goats give us mutton, goats give us milk. We can make cheese and goat milk soap, and the skin can be used to make a rug, and the skin can also be used to make a drum. Let's move on to the next animal on the farm. Oh, look at this. We have Mr. Rooster and Mrs. Hen. So the rooster is the male chicken and the hen is the female chicken, okay? So you see the rooster and you see the female? Okay. So Mr. Rooster and Mrs. Hen, and they normally have a baby. And what does the baby come from? The baby comes from this. What is this called? It's called an egg. The baby comes from an egg. Now, I have a little surprise for you. Hopefully, I can get the surprise out. Ooh, can you hear it? What do you think it is? It is a baby chicken, and a baby chicken is called a chick. Do you see lots of chicks running around? Ooh, here's a little spot. It's okay, baby. Right, so a baby chicken is called a chick. And why do people raise chickens? Why do people want so many chickens around? Why do you think they want so many chickens around? Let's look at the uses of chickens. Next slide. So Mr. Rooster and Mrs. Hen, and then we use chicken. What do? We have fried chicken. I know plenty of you love fried chicken. And the next one, we do baked chicken. So we normally have baked chicken. Okay, now let's look at some other uses other than food. And we have eggs. How do you like your eggs? Do you like them scrambled? Do you like it in an omelette? How do you like your eggs? Right. And when the egg hatches, right, if we don't eat the egg and we leave the egg to hatch, what do we get? A baby chicken. Okay. I know some of you may say, no, this is so cute, I want to keep it. Well, you can actually have a chicken as your pet if you want to. Okay, let's look at the next one. So now we can also use the feathers. Don't go and pluck the feathers off of the chicken, please. You can use the feathers that have fallen to make craft with it. You see this man has a fancy head wrap and stuff like that. So you can use the feathers to make craft with them. And sometimes our grandparents use the feather to clean their ears. Have you ever seen your grandparents ever doing that? Yes, sometimes they clean their ears with the feather as well, the fluffy end, not the pointy end. They clean their ears with the feathers. So that was chicken. So let's review. So we have chickens around us because we want to use the chicken for food, right? So we eat the eggs, we eat the chicken, and also the feathers give us, we can use the feathers for craft. So yeah, this is my little buddy chicken. He's actually going to be my pet. So I hope that you guys liked him. So that's enough of chick. Say goodbye, everyone. Say goodbye to my friend the chick. Ooh, stop it, baby. Okay, now let's move on to the next animal on the farm. So we have the pig. And what song does the pig make? The pig says oink. The pig says oink, oink, and sometimes it's not like they make that sound, right? And now, what is the use of the pig? Why do we have pigs? We keep pigs because we want bacon. Do you like bacon? Some people like bacon. Well, I know that the Adventists don't eat bacon. So they use the pig. Maybe they use the pig for something else. Right, so we have bacon. And this is some crispy bacon. So now what is the next use of the pig? Surprisingly, if you didn't know, now you know, we get lard from pigs. So they actually use the fat of the pig to make lard or shortening. So there you go, a quick fact for you. So we rear pigs for their meat. We call the meat pork. We also use the meat to make bacon, and we get the fat from the pigs to make lard. Do you have lard in your kitchen? Well, now you can go for the lard and tell your mommy, Mommy, you know, this is made from pig's fat. Mommy might be so shocked to hear that fact. And now let's look at the next animal on the farm. So I have a donkey and I have a horse. Have you ever seen either of these before? In person? Okay, maybe you have seen them on television. Maybe you can come to the countryside, Windward or Leeward side. Maybe you could spot a donkey there, and also horses I know are on both sides of the island. Now, why do people keep these animals? What are their uses? Why do we have them around? Why do we feed them and take care of them? Because, let's see the next slide, we use them to carry us. We can actually use them for transportation. So this is a girl riding a horse right here. So we can use horses for transportation, and we can also use donkeys for transportation. So look at this picture right here. Have you ever seen anybody riding a donkey like this going to the mountain on their donkey? Right, so we can use these animals for transportation. And because they're so strong and they can carry people, they can also carry heavy things like load. So let's see, so look at this donkey here. So the donkey is carrying load. So we use donkeys and horses to carry people, a form of transportation, and we can also use them to carry load, because I could not carry all of that bundle of grass on my shoulder. So if I had a donkey, I put it on my donkey to carry it. Okay? So now let's look at the next animal. So we are wrapping up. So we're going to be looking at dogs and cats. Do you have a dog? Do you have a cat? Maybe you have both. So why do we keep dogs and cats around? I wonder. Do you know the answer? So let's see the next slide. So what is the dog doing? Where is the dog? The dog is on the porch. So then we have dogs for protection. You will hear mommy say, oh, I'm going to get a dog because I don't want nobody coming in the yard and I don't know. So at night, it also protects you, so you can hear the dog barking and know that maybe somebody is close by. So we keep dogs for protection. And also, dogs can be trained and they can help to guide. Next slide. They can help to guide the blind. We can use dogs to help to guide the blind, but they have to go through special training for this, okay? Not just any dog. They have to go through special training in order to be a guide dog. And now let's look at the cats. Why do we have cats around? Exactly. We have cats to catch rats and other animals that would be a pest to us, because mommy would not want no rats inside of our place because they carry diseases. So it's good for you to have a pet cat in order to catch the rats. But you have to take care of it still. Don't say it's going to hunt alone. You have to take care of your animals because it's in your yard. So you have to be kind to it, okay? And now finally, next slide. Right, finally, we have dogs and cats to keep us company, to accompany us and to comfort us, as you can see in this picture here. So they're normally very good playmates. You can play with your dogs. The cats love to cuddle up, so we have these animals for comfort as well. So dogs and cats, we use the dogs for protection. They can also be guide dogs, and cats, they are good hunters. And we also use both of these animals to keep us company. So I believe that's all that we have for today in regards to the uses of domestic animals. And can you tell me one domestic animal that we looked at today? Maybe you can type it down in the chat box. One domestic animal that we looked at today. And tell me its use. Why do we have all of these animals around us? Why do we take care of them? We have the donkey, we have the horse, we have the pig, the chicken, the ducks. Well, we didn't do ducks and chicken, but maybe you can tell me the use of a duck as well. And the cows. Why do we have all of these animals around us? I'm waiting on your responses. Okay, all right then. So we have these animals around us because they give us a variety of uses. We normally use them for food. We use their coverings to make things. And we normally have them to comfort us, to accompany us. And that would be all for today's lesson in Science Corner. So thank you all for joining me, Mrs. Clyde Durant here today. The chicken is going crazy on the sidelines. So I hope that you all truly enjoyed the lesson today. And remember to take care. Somebody answered, dogs for protection. We use dogs for protection. So you have to take care of the animals that you have around you, because remember, God made the heavens, God made the sea, God made the trees and birds, and God made me. So God made all of these things, so we have to take care of all those that we have around us, okay? So goodbye, farewell to you, my friends. I hope to see you again in Science Corner. Goodbye.